Hello, my name is Ilona, and in this video, in my series of shadow work, I want to talk about condemning yourself, I guess, or just being very judgmental towards yourself. It's very similar, or probably the basis of self-sabotage, that you really you try to create a new life, but you keep running into the same people, the same situation, just different kind of people, but the same energy behind it. And judging yourself and judging others. I actually got this question through the mail. How can I be more open to people and not judge them or judge myself? I can be very strict with myself. And I actually know this from my own experience, that especially when I was a lot younger, I can be very judgmental towards other people, but also towards myself. If I said something, I can, sometimes I can still feel the shame that I did certain things or I said certain things, and I'm just looking at it, oh, that was so stupid, why did I do that? And that's a way of bringing yourself down. That's really judging yourself. And the core of judging other people and judging yourself is that you are not in connection with yourself. You are actually disconnecting from your connection with God, from the source, from being a spiritual being. So we're stuck in this just human experience, and we're not seeing that our belief system is creating all these situations around us. And usually this happens maybe from a past lifetime or future lifetime, but I just usually just look at the life we are in now, because really this is the focal point that brings the past lives and the future lives all together. So what's happening now in your life says everything about your energy and what's going on inside of yourself. So just use that as a reflection. If I look at myself, I was brought up with this, my parents were brought up a certain way, and of course they were influenced by their upbringing. And I always get the feeling there was something wrong with me. Like I wasn't listening well enough, I was too loud, I was too obnoxious, I was all kinds of things. And of course I've been teased at school, which is of course in a way suitable with that energy. If you always feel there is something wrong with you, you're going to create situations and people that will see you and view you as there's something wrong with you. That's actually, you are the basis of that energy. And it's very important to understand when you're in situations like that really you are the source of it. And this is not about guilt. This is not about blaming yourself, because that is again judging yourself. This is more like, okay, what is going on? Why am I... Just envision yourself as a house, and you kind of just placed yourself outside of the house. So you're in the cold, in the snow, outside. You're not warm, you're not supported, you don't have a roof above your head, and pretty much other people are running your life, so to speak. And you can have different ways of responding to that. You can have more of a subservient attitude, like that you kind of just are a pleaser and just adapt to what's going on around you. I had that side, but I also had the other side, the rebellious side. And then I would be like, if I placed myself out of the house, I'd be like knocking on all the doors and all the windows and start screaming and yelling. That was my rebellious side, so to speak. So I would be pushing against what was going on and trying to stand up for myself. But I wasn't aware at that moment in time that I still carry that energy of not fitting anywhere. So whatever I was doing or trying to get people to understand me, I was still attracting people that just didn't understand me based on the energy that I have deep inside of myself. So it's very important, if you truly want to change things and you see that you judge yourself a lot or even judge other people, which ultimately is judging yourself. Because if you are completely happy with yourself, if you truly love yourself, and this is a process, we are all in this process trying to connect with every part of ourselves and really stepping into our power. That's what the Great Awakening is about. It's a process we need to work through, and it's not going to be easy. So you need to give yourself time to realize, okay, the basis is in myself. I'm still pushing myself to the side. I've taken in all these convictions that I'm not good enough, that I'm not lovable enough, that I'm not worthy enough, that I'm not. It can be anything, and that is what you'll see. That's the energy that you bring. And then even if you try to, rationally you understand, yeah, but I am worthy, I am lovable, I am worthy of attention, whatever it is for you that is important, but you're still not getting it. Deep down inside, you are not feeling that. You still believe there's still this pain and energy that something is wrong with you. And I've mentioned this before, it could be from religious things, could be a family pattern, it can be all kinds of things that kind of collide inside of you. But I think the basis of what's been going on with humanity is ultimately that we disconnected ourselves from our spiritual soul, from our connection with God, and start believing we are just humans. Obviously, the dark energies use this against us, but we let this happen. We stopped seeing ourselves and really accepting ourselves truly for who we are. That's why it is about remembering who we truly are, and that we are children of God, and that we're always protected and we're always safe. And that's a different way of looking at things. But we still have these pains, maybe we still carry around with us. And it's very important that you look inside your life, in your life, what do I see reflected? Is there things that I still run into, certain situations, certain people? So it's very important that, and look at it. So there are different ways of handling it. You can really focus on judging yourself, just yourself, and it's always your fault. And then, of course, you will draw in people that are very dominant, and you have to adapt all the time. But it's also a possibility that you're the one that's part of my process. Like I said, I could be very adaptable, pleasing, but I could also be this rebellious side. And instead of, it may seem like when I was growing up, I was quite, how do you say this? I felt at a very young age I had to do everything myself. And I've mentioned this before. I was placed out of the house when I was 15. So I really had this feeling I have to do everything myself. This is not going to work out. So I had this strong energy around me. I'm going to work out things myself. So people would actually, in my environment, people I would, hang out with, friends at that time, would actually see me as a very strong woman. While deep inside, I didn't feel strong at all. I felt so vulnerable, so I had to put up all these walls to keep people away from me, and I still struggle till today with certain things in my energy, that I do have this, I'm of course introverted as well, but I do have this tendency of isolating myself. And the only way, at least as I see it now, is by connecting with myself. I can start connecting with other people again. This is part of that self-judgment, putting yourself outside of your own house, not connecting with yourself. Something wrong with you. So it's look at how you treat yourself. Do you really treat yourself with kindness? Are you really truly loving yourself? That is the most important thing to deal with this, and to really look at this self-judgment, bringing yourself down. Also, other judgments about other people always says something about yourself as well. And especially when I was in my rebellious phase, I had this tendency to always, start projecting things outside of myself. And, this person is this, and they shouldn't say this. I could get very angry. I sometimes still have that, but I would immediately okay, what's going on? What is triggering inside of myself? Because ultimately, we don't have to judge anyone. We can have discernment. We can see if someone resonates with us or not. But if they don't, we can just leave it for what it is. We don't have to, put them down. We don't have to say, well, that's because this about them. We don't have to do that. We don't have to make all these judgments about them. We can just say, well, this doesn't feel right to me, or this situation doesn't feel right to me. And you can just move on. And especially look at why you created the situation, and if you can look inside of yourself, what triggers you, where the judgments comes from. Maybe it's out of a fear that you're going to be dominated. I noticed that especially growing up, and when I look back now at certain things, sometimes I can still feel certain shame that I did certain things or I said certain things. And then I can just look deeper inside myself, have some compassion as well, and look at things. Okay, at that moment in time, I was just very scared. I wanted to, really, how do you say it, put boundaries down, but I was just overreacting. I was stepping in that rebellious side and then pushing away anything in my way. So it's very important to also look with compassion towards things you've done in the past, and also really connect what was the thing behind it, and also understand that you're not the same person anymore you were a year ago, 3 years ago, 10 years ago. And you've learned from those things as well. So you're probably going to make different decisions based on what you know now. And you didn't know that back then. It's also very important to understand, especially when you're trying to change things and you finally really start to realize, but I've really kept this all going. It was my energy, my conviction that's still creating all these situations. And then it's very difficult not to fall in this blame game. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. Oh, I should have done this. That's again judging yourself. You're not going to get anywhere with that. You can feel through the guilt, feel through the frustration, because you carry that with you as well, which creates partly the situation as well. And then try to see this in a neutral light. Like, okay, I am now here. I can still continue this situation, this relationship for another 10 years, or I'm going to change it now. And the best part you can do is change your energy. Work with the energy inside of yourself. What is triggering you? What has caused this pattern? Because if you don't change this pattern, and I know from my own experience, you're going to create it anyway. You will still create certain situations, certain people. You can be as firm as you like. I was very assertive. I was looking for the word. And I could really, I was very, how do you say this? Really put my foot down. No, don't want this. I can be. So people were looking at me in this kind of like, oh, we have to watch out with her. But still, I would create situations where I just didn't fit. Because my core conviction was, there is something wrong with me. I'm not that lovable. People don't really like me. My parents didn't like me. Of course, this is the part of the conviction. They threw me out of the house when I was 15. So yeah, who is going to like me? And that's something I still have to work with. But it goes very, very deep. So you keep creating things. And it was everywhere around me. In the educations I follow, in work that I've done, the people that I would meet, I would just not fit in. There was always something that just didn't fit in. And of course, it had to do with how I look at myself and the judgment I had towards myself. So just really look into your life, see if you notice things, judgments that you may have about other people, and most likely the judgment you have about yourself. Because ultimately, if you judge yourself, you will judge other people as well. So really, this is about loving yourself, really embracing yourself, all your shadow sides, all your light sides. There has to be a balance, because the more balanced we are, the more strength we have, the more we will shine, and the more we will attract situations and people that are aligned with that. If you don't judge yourself anymore, if you truly love yourself, you will connect with people that love themselves as well and won't have any need for judging you, and you won't have that need anymore because it's not inside of your energy anymore. So I'd like to leave it at this, and I hope to see you in another video. Bye.